are differing versions of the events following Jesus' arrest in Jerusalem. Why did Jesus choose to go to the temple in Jerusalem, purposely provoking the authorities? Why did he choose not to defend or explain his actions to settle a compromise with the priests? Actions of prophets, messiahs, siddhas, and gnanis alike are not motivated by the effects of karma or vasana of previous births. Having attained realization, their lives and careers are dedicated to God. Somewhere in Tibet, in a monastery, Jesus, known as Isa, attained realization. Vision of the truth and experience of oneness transformed his life into a mission from that point on. This play is based on historical accounts, but ventures into explaining the mystery behind Jesus' sacrifice. This revelation of Jesus' mission is inspired by the teachings of the Supreme Teacher, Swami himself.
Let's go back in history. About 2,000 years back, Judea was then under Roman rule. Jerusalem was the capital. A council made up of local priests and influential politicians managed local affairs. Conveniently, this gave the perception of autonomy, and the Romans were happy as long as there was no rebellion and taxes were collected properly. This council was called Sanhedrin, and it was getting very weary of Jesus' teachings and his gaining in popularity. Jerusalem had a huge temple which drew thousands of pilgrims to the worship prescribed by the so-called guardians of religion. The chief priest, Caiaphas, was feeling threatened by Jesus' teachings and his claim to be the messenger of God. Caiaphas felt that if Jesus was allowed to continue, soon the temple's authority will be seriously undermined. Pontius Pilate was a Roman governor in charge of this territory. He was known as a true soldier, sometimes described as a cold-hearted brute. In contrast, his wife Claudia Procula, the granddaughter of Tiberius Caesar, was devout and attended many Jewish events. Today is Friday. Jesus has been in Jerusalem since Sunday. Passover is being observed in the city to commemorate freedom from slavery. Pontius and his guests from Rome have just arrived at the palace after a long day's work.
Madam, Master Pilate is here with Senator Marcus.
Thank you, Miriam. Please announce that the dinner is served.
We are here. Sorry to keep you waiting. Senator and I have a lot of work to do to finish in the office. The city is bustling with lots of people from all over Judea for the Passover celebration.
Greetings to you, Senator. Very nice to see you again. How is my beloved Rome? Have you brought any news?
Greetings, my dear Claudia. Rome is no different. Bureaucracy, politics, and everyone trying to please Caesar. Sometimes it's better here than being there. But tell me, dear, how do you like it here?
I can certainly tell you that I'm intrigued by the people of Judea and their customs and traditions. I try to learn and appreciate the local culture. What brings you here, Senator?
Oh, the good senator from Rome is always paranoid about rebellion. The senator does not trust me enough and therefore has personally come to observe.
Governor, that's not true. And you know, I have come here to express our appreciation for the work you do and to extend support from Rome, whatever is needed. And as far as rebellion is concerned, if I were to believe Caiaphas, there is already one started by someone from the north. Caiaphas was quite serious about that in our meeting earlier.
You must be talking about Jesus of Galilee. The whole town is talking about him. How he performs miracles, heals people without even being near them. Interesting. I was at the temple today and saw him from outside. We still are not allowed in. He calmly went up to the money changers and turned their tables. Then he went where the pigeons were kept, the ones meant for sacrifice. He purposefully freed them. It was quite a scene. It seemed like the people were actually applauding him.
But all this is definitely trouble. Temple priests don't like anyone challenging them. They make too much money through these customs. I don't know why anyone would want to fight with the priests, especially during this time.
I suspect they will not let this continue. My centurion was telling me earlier that Caiaphas and his men are looking to get him, and has even offered some kind of reward for anyone to turn him in.
Governor, Caiaphas is a friend of Rome. Let's support him. If he wins, we win.
Pilate got the message. Rome does not want trouble. He was also a little frustrated that Rome continues to keep a direct relationship with Caiaphas, not trusting him to manage local politics. Dinner is being served at the palace. Elsewhere in the city, Jesus is having Passover supper with his followers. On the table there are dates, olives, grapes, baskets of bread, and carafes of red wine. After saying grace, Jesus addresses everyone at the table.
The bread served at the meal today is my flesh, and the wine my blood. All beings alive with flesh and blood should be treated as meat, and that no distinction should be made of friend or foe, us or them. Every body is my body. Every drop of blood flowing in the veins of every living being is mine. Now, all of you, do this in remembrance of me. Treat every man as divine. If you love me, love all and serve all.
After the meal, to set an example of love and service, Jesus washes the feet of his disciples. Why is Jesus behaving this way? Was this an omen of things to come? All were left wondering. Back at the palace, Senator Marcus has retired to his room, and Claudia and Pontius are alone.
Pontius, will you get angry if I tell you something? There's definitely something unique about Jesus.
No, of course not. But you should know, I don't like it when you start talking like the Jews.
When I saw Jesus at the temple, he had a glow about him. He walked as if he were floating, and the way he talked, it was soft and sweet. It was the same in my dreams.
Dreams? What dreams? Have you completely lost it?
This is what I wanted to tell you. For the last few days, I've had the same dream where he appears, like an angel. He mentions that you will become the cause for his suffering, Pontius.
Sheer nonsense. This is a matter between Caiaphas and Jesus. Why should I have anything to do with it? You are getting too caught up in all of this. Senator Marcus is leaving for Rome in a few days. Might I suggest that you join him and spend some time at home? It will help you feel better.
I will go, but please, will you stop any harm coming to him? Please, Pontius, I am really worried.
Claudia, please get hold of yourself. We are Romans, simple and straightforward. These matters are for the Sanhedrin to handle. It's local politics. Let them deal with it.
If only he knew. Soon, he will be involved in the most famous trial of recent history. Just at the same time this conversation is taking place between Claudia and Pontius, Caiaphas's men finally arrest Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. Claudia's instincts were not so wrong after all. It is the early morning hours, and outside Pilate's palace, there is a group of people led by the high priest of the temple, Caiaphas. Next to him is Jesus, surrounded by Roman guards and a few witnesses. The guards wake up Pilate and describe the commotion. Pilate meets with Caiaphas and sees Jesus for the first time. Pilate reminds himself not to get involved with this.
Greetings, Honorable Governor. Please accept our sincere apologies for causing inconvenience at this hour. But public affairs is a never-ending duty, as you know.
Greetings to you. What seems to be the matter? Who is this person you have captured?
Governor, this is Jesus from Galilee. I'm sure you've heard of him. For some time now, he has been making claims about him being a messenger of God. Not only that, today at the temple, many heard him say that he is the King of Judea and the Son of God. This is blasphemy, an insult to our God, an act worthy of capital punishment. We had him arrested today and he was questioned by the council.
And what did you find?
Well, he would not cooperate. He neither accepted nor rejected any of these allegations. He continued to deny our authority. Temple laws are quite clear. This is punishable by death.
Death. What do you have against him? Do you have any witnesses?
Why don't you just hear this from the temple priest himself?
Honorable Governor, Jesus came with his followers to the temple today. There, hundreds of pilgrims peacefully wait in line to change coins and perform their worship. Jesus simply walked up to the money changers and, without saying anything, turned their tables. And then he freed all the birds which were meant for worship and sacrifice. Without the sacrificial offering, our worship cannot go on. This is an act against God, blasphemy.
What he did was right. I was there myself. He could not see the poor helpless birds being sacrificed. He said that one needs to sacrifice one's animal tendencies like lust, anger, greed, and all that.
I don't understand all of this, but I don't see much need for me to get involved in this.
Wait, Governor. Wait till you hear what he said about other things.
Yes, yes. At the temple, we only accept pure coins for the offerings needed for worship. People come from all over with their impure money. they must purchase temple coins from the money changers. Jesus stopped them from selling temple coins. Governor, I heard it with my own ears. He openly preached against paying. Governor, if people don't pay, there is no tax for empire.
What he said was, God does not need your money and your things. God only wants your love. Don't wait in line here to get a chance to pray and pay for your measly offerings to Him. Show your devotion to God by loving and serving others. Now that's what he said.
I don't find much fault in that. These should be handled by your local laws.
Governor, we must not allow him to preach to the good people of Judea against our God and the great Roman Empire.
Jesus, have you been preaching against us?
Everything I teach is in the open. Why ask me? Ask those who have heard me.
I am thoroughly confused. I can neither understand these petty allegations nor comprehend all the answers I'm hearing. I will ask one last time. So Jesus, they say you claim to be the King of the Jews and the Son of God.
My kingdom is of a different kind. In my kingdom, God is the ruler, and He is seated in the heart, not in some lavish temple. Love, compassion, and human virtues are the rules. There is forever peace and happiness.
And what about the miracles and all these stories regarding the healing of the sick?
It is not I. Faith is the greatest healer. The Divine Father is most compassionate and listens to every prayer. When one prays for the others without selfishness, miracles occur.
I don't understand any of this, but Caiaphas, none of these violates any Roman laws. I suggest that you take care of this through your own system.
Our Sanhedrin Council has already ruled on this. After a thorough investigation, we have come to you. We don't have the authority to hand down capital punishment. Not only are Jesus' actions against the temple laws, he openly preaches against Roman laws. I'm sure friends of Caesar will soon find out about his actions and his ever-increasing following. They will surely look at these events as the beginning of a rebellion. We must act now. He must die. And only you have the power to authorize the punishment we seek. It is appropriate and it is per law.
His powers are only what have been given to him from Rome.
Do you not respect my powers? Aren't you fearful? I can release you, or I can condemn you to death.
You are merely an actor in this play. You and I are only witness to the truth.
Truth? Everyone's story is different. I cannot understand a word any of you are saying. So what is the truth?
What is the truth? Don't we all want to know that? Beneath his cold, stern exterior, this Roman soldier's heart is starting to question the nature of reality. Pilate doesn't understand his newfound inquisitiveness, but something compels him to learn more about Jesus. He also remembers his earlier conversations with Claudia. He advises Caiaphas to come back at noon when he will read his judgment. He then asks his soldiers to bring Jesus to an inside room. He follows. There is Jesus, standing in a purple robe, his face softly glowing in the gentle morning sunlight. Through the window, nature seems to be peering in, as if to pay obeisance to this divine master on his last day.
Tell me, Jesus, knowing the temple laws and the authority of the priests in Jerusalem, what made you challenge them in the open and during this Passover occasion?
Can anyone know and understand the reason? Only the divine knows. My birth, my life, my actions are all for a purpose. I have come here to fulfill the mission of restoring love, charity, and compassion in the heart of man. Today, these priests have clouded the true religion. People are running after glass beads, imagining them to be diamonds, and attaching great value to them. The temples and holy shrines have become bazaars where grace is being bargained and commercialized. The time has come for these corrupt practices to be exposed. What better occasion than today, when thousands are present? There is one more reason. The poor and the sick are discriminated against by the temple. They are not allowed to enter and offer their worship to the Lord. My actions today were in response to those yearnings. The Lord's will shall prevail, and once again, these temple doors will be open to all.
Do you go to a secret temple where you hear his will? How are you so sure?
I clearly see his will, as clear as the reflection of the moon in a placid lake. When worldly desires subside, his grace befalls, and only love remains. No longer is there any separateness. The individual will becomes his will. One's body becomes his instrument. Every act of mine is only for the benefit of others. Let my life be an example for all to follow.
You mentioned this sacrifice for the benefit of humanity, but does it mean anything to them? I understand that your followers, friends, and companions ran away when they came to arrest you. I heard that one of your own turned you in for a meager 30 coins. Do you want to sacrifice your life for them?
Sacrifice is an expression of selfless love. It is spontaneous. When your foot is pricked by a thorn, your hands spontaneously reach to remove the thorn. I am here to demonstrate the power of such spontaneous acts of love and kindness. For years I have preached and taught, helped and served, prayed and healed. I did all this to reinstall man's faith in God. The tide is turning. Soon, spirituality and morality will be guided and inspired by love for God.
But aren't you afraid? The penalty demanded by Caiaphas is death, and nothing else.
What to fear? Why to fear? Who to fear? What will be beaten, abused, stoned, and crucified? It is the body of Jesus, and not the spirit. Death is like changing of the dress from birth to birth. Spirit is eternal and indestructible. This body on the cross will remind people of the immortality of the Spirit. And know this too, I will be born again in the hearts of all people as love, peace, compassion, understanding, and charity. For years to come, my life will inspire mankind.
Jesus, I am as confused as ever. I have nerves of steel. But today, my sense of logic is failing me. If I free you, it might be interpreted as treason against Caesar, whom I serve. If I condemn you, will I ever forgive myself for the sin?
The purpose of my journey on the earth has reached an end. You have been chosen to perform an important role in this cycle of events. You have examined and investigated this with the best of your abilities. Now, nothing more needs to be done. Do your duty and uphold the council's decision.
Thus saying, Jesus closes his eyes and withdraws himself into a deep state of meditation. In that state, he hears the voice of his Father. All beings are alike. God is in every heart. Don't bear ill will towards those who have acted improperly. Forgive them of their wrongdoing, their sins. At noon, Pilate, sitting on the traditional stone bench, passes his judgment. Jesus is to die by crucifixion. Deeply troubled by this, Pilate publicly washes his hands in repentance, symbolically washing away his sins.